want the Raiders to draft Arizona wide receiver Tetairoa McMillan? We're going to talk about it here on today's show because I'm not going to lie. It might be a bad idea after you watch this video. Today's show is presented by Panda Supps, and if anybody's trying to get the best workout supplements on the market, or if you're trying to wake up, take a scoop of that Super Nootropics, I promise you, it's going to wake you up just like that. Use code DRAFT. You're going to be able to save 25% off at pandasupps.com. That link is going to be available to y'all down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. So coming up here, I'm going to be breaking down why the idea of the Las Vegas Raiders drafting Arizona wide receiver Tetairoa McMillan at number 6 makes me nervous, and it might be a bad idea. And I am doing this show because I have been somebody that has said I would want the Raiders to take McMillan at 6. I have been somebody that says that McMillan is the number 1 wide receiver in this year's draft. I think after you watch this video, you might change your opinion on everything that I just said there. Let's go to the first reason of why taking Tetairoa McMillan at number 6 does make me a little bit nervous and why I might be out on that idea. I don't know if you saw, but McMillan said that he doesn't watch tape. And when I hear a player that doesn't watch tape, it does. It scares the absolute shit out of me, not just because of Jamarcus Russell, but if T-Mac said that he doesn't like watching football, if he said that he doesn't like watching film, and the exact quote from him was, "I don't ever need to watch it by myself because we go over it as a receiver group." This was a video that I put out on social media last week, and it did go viral, which I'll admit, like, you see those quotes right there, player doesn't like watching football, player doesn't like watching film, doesn't feel like that he needs to do, in a sense, extra work. That scares the hell out of me. What's really important about all these interviews and about the quotes, this was from when he was a freshman at Arizona. 2 years ago, okay? These are not recent comments, and when I first saw it, I was like, if these are recent comments, McMillan's draft stock is going to go drastically down, which I was like, I don't want the Raiders to draft McMillan if these are recent comments. Now that I found out that they're 2 years ago, my only point is this. I am a lot more nervous about it, and I'm not as sold on the idea of taking McMillan at number 6. So if you agree with everything that I just said, that T-Mac's comments make me not want to draft him, I want you to click that like button right now. I want a player that wants to love football, that wants to be a Raider, that wants to be the best version of himself from top to bottom. And somebody that says that they don't like football, somebody that says they don't watch film, doesn't sound like somebody that this organization is going to be a part of. And if you agree with that, I want you to hit that like button, because when I hear somebody say, I don't like watching football, that first thing that popped in my head was, that makes me think that you don't love football. And I get that some of these guys are talented. And I get that some of these guys are just given God-given ability, and they're doing this to put food on a table, to put a roof over their head. I talked to a former Raiders player. He used to tell me that stuff all the time, that he's literally just doing it because he is a good football player. But if T-Mac said that he doesn't like watching football, and I know for a fact that the Raiders want guys that love football, and they want to go out there to build a culture, and they want to go out there and build, a team that's going to go out there and compete. When you hear the comments that Tetairoa made, it makes me think of a player that doesn't love football. And you're going to be able to get away with talent and talent alone in college. You're going to be able to get away with it at a certain point. We know that. But in the NFL, when you want to go from being a player that is good to being great, you got to put in the extra time. You got to put in the extra effort. You got to be a psycho when it comes to your craft. Hearing a player that doesn't want to do all those things makes me think that McMillan is okay being average. And he could probably be drafted number 6. He could probably not watch any film. He could probably do, nothing. And he's probably going to be a good to average wide receiver in the National Football League. Here's the problem with that. Watching film makes you a better player. And players that aren't trying to get better, I'm sorry, it's not somebody that I want to draft in round 1, let alone at pick 6. Could McMillan fall a little bit because of these comments? Sure, I get it. I will also tell you this, though. Not watching football film, not loving football equals a player that's about to be average. And I just don't want another situation where I'm sitting up here going, man, we could have had an Ashton Jeanty. Man, we could have had a Will Campbell. Man, we could have had an Armand Membou. At pick number 6, you got to take somebody that you know is a home run hit. You can't afford to miss in a first year for a regime. And for a guy that literally said himself, he doesn't like watching film. He doesn't feel like he needs to watch film. He doesn't like watching football. That makes me nervous taking a player that has that mentality, taking a player like that at number 6. I don't care what you say. It does make me nervous. So, are you terrified of Tetairoa McMillan? Would you draft him at number 6? Give me a yes, give me a no. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. You're about to get it with the YouTube ad break. I want you to scroll on down and give me your answer. I am out on drafting McMillan at 6 if he still feels the exact same way regarding film and regarding football, because it's not worth the risk to me. There's other better players. If the Raiders were picking at 12, 13, 14, it might be a little bit of a different conversation. But if you were somebody like me that was sitting here going, do I want to take Jeanty? Do I want to take McMillan? Call it in the air. Heads or tails? Now, I'm looking at that tiebreaker and I'm going, sorry, McMillan, you're down here. I'm more on the Ashton Jeanty train than I am on the McMillan train. For that reason, I'm not taking McMillan at number 6. Let's go to the next reason here. He's not a great athlete. Like, McMillan is not a great athlete. He is a really good athlete. But if we're talking about an athlete at the wide receiver position compared to all the other receivers in the NFL, compared to all the other receivers in the NFL draft, he's not an elite athlete. The reason why you would take a player like him is because you look at his long build, you look at his skill set, and you go, if this guy's willing to put in the time and the effort, he could be one of the better receivers in the NFL. And again, when you're taking a player at 6, you're hoping that he ends up turning into one of the best receivers in the NFL. My fear is he's not talented enough, and then if you combine that with poor work ethic and somebody that doesn't love football, I am concerned that they stay status quo. And when your number 6 overall pick stays status quo, you don't grow as an NFL team. You don't get better. Like, his athletic limitations, he needs to be able to be in the film room. He needs to be in a gym rat. He needs to go out there and do all those special things. Because here's the other conversation part. If McMillan was a receiver in last year's draft, right? Think about this. I don't know if he goes round 1. He might have went round 2. And if all those receivers are in this year's draft, he's not the number 1 receiver. And I get it. You can't look at it like that every single time, but you have to look at McMillan up against other NFL receiving talent. And because he's not going to be best player available at 6, you take him to develop him into a star. Based on all of his comments, doesn't sound like this is a kid that wants to be a star. He's okay being average. And then the final reason here is culture fit. And for the Raiders, they want to bring players in that have that, I'm just going to say it, Max Crosby mentality. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if Tetairoa McMillan looked at Max Crosby and said, I don't feel like I need to watch film because I know we're going to watch film at practice? Like, I think Max Crosby would superplex him right there and then. Like, you want your stars to set the tone. You want your star players to be the first guys there, the last one to leave. And drafting a player at 6 that doesn't love football, that isn't about the team and isn't about being the best version of himself, when you bring in a player like that on a brand new regime, that tells every other player in that draft class that that's okay. It tells every other player of what you did, that's okay. But also what would be extremely confusing about that is the Raiders this entire offseason, whether it's being free agency, whether it's draft, all they have done is they brought in good culture fits, guys that love football, and guys that want to put in the extra time and effort when other people don't do it. I understand that McMillan made those comments many, many years ago, 2 years ago. But still, dude, when you're making comments like that, I need to see a clear change in what you're doing. Because when you watch the film on McMillan, he looks like somebody who does study. But that's not somebody you take at number 6. I need a locked-in pick knowing that he's going to be a great player on and off the field. And based on McMillan's comments, it makes me nervous taking him at 6 because I don't know if he's going to be good on or off the field for Las Vegas. But coming up next here, we are going to talk about why McMillan still can be the pick at 6. I don't want to just do this show and say I'm totally out on McMillan. I'm not totally out on McMillan. I am out on McMillan at pick number 6, but that doesn't mean I'm totally out on him overall. But even that being said, we could still see the Raiders go out and try to take him at number 6. And I'm going to give you those reasons here in just a moment. Before I do, though, huge shout out to Panda Sups. Whether you're looking for any product, the protein, the pre-workout, their BCAAs, fat burner, the greens are really awesome. Alex has been loving those. If you're like me, I get bloated sometimes, especially when I eat a lot of protein, and not afraid to admit it. Sometimes the farts, they get a little bit stinky when you're trying to eat healthier. You get a scoop of the greens, kind of, gives you a flush it out a little bit, and you're feeling a lot better. The Super Nootropic is a product that I cannot express how amazing it is. If you're somebody that loves caffeine, loves a good energy drink, but you have a crash in the middle of the day, it might be because you're drinking too much caffeine. If you get a scoop of the Super Nootropic, it's going to wake you up, and it's going to wake up your mind. It's not going to just wake up your body. You're not going to get jittery. You're going to feel super locked in. So whether you're a student, whether you're working from home, whether you're, a host of a Raiders report, I use this product very often, and I use it especially in free agency, especially in the NFL draft. And if anybody who's watching the show uses code DRAFT and you go to pandasups.com, which again, that link's going to be in the comments and in the description of today's show, if by using code DRAFT at PandaSups, not only going to get 25% off, you're going to get this gym bag and you're going to get a shaker. He's had some different color versions, variations of it, which Merbad, I don't know if you're watching this one. The black and white one you got is freaking dope. Thank you for sending that to me. I think we should try to include those in a lot of these bags. They're really, really dope. Appreciate Panda Sups for sponsoring the Raiders Report. So let's get into why the Raiders could take Max Still here at pick number 6. And there's many reasons why this one could potentially happen. And the number one reason I would say is relationships are key to this regime. And I feel like every time I've talked about a player that the Raiders have gone out and drafted or signed, we've sat here and gone, well, what's the connection? What's the connection? What's the relationship out there? And T-Mac at the Combine said that he had a good relationship with the Las Vegas Raiders, and it wouldn't really surprise me considering the fact that Brennan Carroll, the son of Pete Carroll, was with the Arizona Wildcats from 2021 to 2023. McMillian was with them from 2022 to 2023. So that's 2 years with Brennan Carroll, the Raiders offensive line coach. And because they've already made a lot of those moves, that could be why. Here's also what Tetairoa McMillan told the Chat Sports team at the NFL Combine.
I've met with the Raiders, and I think Coach Carroll, obviously he a legend. There's a lot of coaches on that staff that currently came from Arizona with me. So that'll be real nice to play with Raiders. And so I'm just looking forward to my name being called in April.
In all the interviews that the Chat Sports team had with McMillian, he seemed like a very stand-up guy, very confident young man, but you can hear in his voice, he sounds like he's got a good relationship with the Raiders, and he sounds confident in that relationship with the Raiders. And just because of everything that they've done this offseason, there's still a chance that the Raiders could take him. Let's go to the next reason here. The Silver and Black need a wide receiver 1. Jakobi is a really good number 2. Brock Bowers is a tight end, and damn it, could be a number 1 as well. But the Raiders have been looking for a wide receiver 1 all offseason. It's been reported they were, linked to the DK Metcalf trade rumors. I know the Raiders have brought in players like Hunter Renfrow here and there, but this has been a team that has not wanted to go out and spend big. So if you know that they don't want to go out and spend big, you're probably not going to get one of those big-name wide receivers that are still out there on the market. And I do wonder if Keenan Allen and if Amari Cooper, if even Tyler Lockett might be a little bit too much out of their bubble. But if T-Mac does pair well with Geno, and he does, his skill set, his ability to go up and get 50-50 balls, his ability to run a route tree, and I get it, he's not fast, he's not great with separation, but when you're 6'4", and you have an extremely accurate quarterback in Geno, which Geno was top 4 in the NFL and balls on target past the 10-yard line and past the 20-yard line. He was number 1 in deep field efficiency. That all leads into the skill set of somebody like McMillian. I know it can be a good duo. It's just there is a risk taking him at number 6. Before I get into 2 more reasons, I hope that everybody tuning in today pulls up for our live NFL draft coverage here on the Raiders Report. What you see right now is I went live for over 6 hours on day 1, over 6 hours on day 2, over 8 hours on day 3. We had over 283,000 people tune in those 3 days, almost 21 hours of live content. If you're going to be sitting around watching the NFL draft, I want you to watch the NFL draft here on the Raiders Report because you're also going to get the picks before you see them on TV. And we have a lot of fun here on this channel. I know people that are definitely going to be here, people that are a part of the Noti gang. These were the first 5 people to comment on the video that I dropped on April 1st. So to Jason, Roger, Jeff, John, and JJ, it's a lot of J's now that I'm noticing. Huge shout out to all y'all. And if you don't know what the Noti gang is, it's people that are subscribed and people that take pride in clicking that notification bell underneath this video, clicking all. That way, every time I drop a video, you're down in the comments. And if you're down in the comments first, those are the people that I consider the Noti gang. Let's go to the next reason here. The Raiders are clearly interested in McMillian, which is why they could end up drafting him at number 6. They held a visit with him at the NFL Combine, and it was him, Emeka Egbuka, the receiver from Iowa State, Jalen Newell, and then they also held a meeting with Oregon receiver Tez Johnson. So the fact that they met with him at the Combine, I don't have any information yet regarding a top 30 visit. We will wait to see. But because the Raiders have been interested in the wide receiver position and the fact they met with him at the NFL Combine and he has a relationship with Brennan Carroll, all of those reasons why the Raiders do have real interest in McMillian. This video, though, is more about doesn't make sense to take him at number 6. The final reason of why I think the Raiders could do it is Did McMillian grow up? Did he turn into more of a professional? Because I would love to be able to sit down and look at McMillian dead in the eyes and go, do you regret the comments that you made? And he looks like he was eating while the comments were, when he was asked those questions, it didn't really look like he was paying attention all that much to what the conversation was being had. But I'm telling you this right now, the only way I would ever consider taking McMillian at number 6, if he looked at me dead in the eyes and he said, I watch tape now, I love football, and it could be proved to me by his Raiders coach. Because anybody can look at me dead in the eyes and say yes and yes. Some people can lie. I'm not a good liar at all. But I need to see that he's grown up, because he's grown up as a receiver. He's had 2 very good seasons. He's the only receiver in college football, back-to-back years, over 1,300 yards. And there's talent there. But you're not going to get to an elite player when you are somebody that has the skill set of McMillian, unless you are a psycho up here and you're able to put in that extra time and the extra effort. If he's not willing to do that, I'm not willing to take him at number 6. If he can figure out a way, and his agent can figure out a way to prove to teams that he's doing all those extra things, well, then the idea of taking him at number 6 doesn't scare me nearly as much. I appreciate everyone that tuned in. Reminder, if you want to follow me on Instagram or on Twitter, I am at Mitchell Renz 365. I'm putting out a lot of extra content on those spaces as well. If you want to, send me any questions that you have, those are going to be the easiest places to end up doing it. Tetairoa McMillan, no doubt, is a talented receiver, but his comments around him not watching film and not loving football make me very nervous on taking him at number 6, which is why I'm saying it might be a bad idea for the Raiders to take him on draft night.